Bonjour sports fans, Skip Drew here. Final update before I leave for the Biscay tomorrow, maybe between 16 and 18 hours, it depends when I leave tomorrow morning. The situation I'm in is it's horrendous today out there, 16 foot, 5.5 metre waves. Pretty much the same tomorrow, slightly less wind. It's forecast 27 to 38 gusts, which is a little bit spicy, not something I'd care to go out in. The reason I will be going out in it is the wind drops considerably after that, in the low teens down to the tens, and I'm worried about getting stuck out there and be calmed for 3 days. And then what would happen? The predictions are never that accurate 4 or 5 days out. A southwesterly would come in, or whatever would come in, and we're back to the normal stormy weather this time of the year. So I want to go and try and make some headway and use the motor if I really have to, but experiment with sail trim to get some speed going in those lower velocity winds. The normal passage from here is to go southwest through a passage called Sen, which is between an island and some rocks. You have to time it, particularly in those kind of spicy winds, to go at slack tide, which would mean I'd need to leave in the dark. The problem here is that I can't leave in the dark because since Storm Kieran there's still no electricity and I'd probably hit something. Plus there's lots of rocks out there and things, fishing balls and God knows what. So I will need to go sometime after 8:30 when I get the balls to go out. It's still very spicy in the morning. It drops to around 24, I think, for the rest of that 24-hour period. So the plan is, there's still big waves, 4 metre waves. I've got to probably hand steer so I can make sure that none of those waves hit me on the beam. Well, I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm getting ready to go. Tomorrow it's quite calm, isn't it?
Yeah, but then you get some headwinds then. Depends how strong, huh? Get rid of the rope and have Topi. Yeah, it's a shame to say goodbye to the others, Niklas, Virgil. And hope to see us all safe in or somewhere nearby.
Yeah, we'll make contact when we see landfall. let's see if this works. This is typical. Well, it's not typical, this is a bit on the high side. But one day I was looking at 60 knots, gusting to 96. Then 36 gusting 51, 15-foot waves every 10 seconds. So just absolutely rapid. 28 to 30 knots, 15 foot.
Which is what I'm going out in tomorrow, but not southwesterly. It's more of a, well, northwesterly, going directly north and slowly veering slightly to northeast. 26 to 34, 14 foot, you know, you could say you could go out in that. Ugh, I don't really want to, it's non-enjoyable. I was hoping for something better and less dangerous. 30 to 39, 20 foot waves, 5 metres, 38 to 51, 17 foot waves. I mean, this is 4 days, pretty much, 33 to 44 knots, 23 foot waves. That would just make me pitch pole, never mind capsize.
And this is the day I leave, 4 hours before departure. So being as though I'm going to be in the dark and I have no wind instruments, no speed, anometer or direction, and my old French burgee is pretty much dead, as you can see it's in tatters, and it's probably going to come off. So I won't be able to see anything in the dark and trim the sails according to the wind or see when to turn and stuff. So my little English flag's up there, it's making a racket, but at least it will do its job and let me know which way the wind is coming from, or the apparent wind anyway.
You can't outrun a herd of buffalo. You can't outrun, buffalo. Never kick a turd on a really hot day. Oh, porcupine in bed feet. I'd really recommend a Swedish wife. You drink a lot of coffee if you need to buy a knife from IKEA. Sticky buffalo. Sticky buffalo. Sticky buffalo. Sticky buffalo. Sticky buffalo. I'd really recommend a Swedish wife. Drink a lot of coffee, buy a lot of knives.
Turn off all the electrics because it's really hammering my power bank. I had a bit of a panic today. Well, I didn't actually panic, but I should have probably done. My batteries are down to 50%. So in the first 24 hours, I had the engine on for 6 hours. So I didn't even bother looking at the battery bank, because normally an hour a day or two tops of the batteries. But because I've had the new self-steering and the radar and the AIS and stuff, it's really hammering my batteries. But I thought the alternator wasn't working, but that doesn't appear to be the case. It's really taking loads of power. So I've got everything off now and I'm sailing while I'm at top sides. I don't need to have the AIS on and the radar because I've got vision and there's bloody nothing out here. I don't think I've seen anything for the last 24 hours at all in any direction. So I feel quite safe in a strange kind of way.
What shall I do with my life? Drink more coffee. Sticky bookie book. Sticky bookie book, sticky bookie book, sticky bookie book, sticky bookie book.
Okay, we are 16 hours 34 minutes into the Biscay. I've done 64 miles, which is reasonable, nothing fantastic, but I was going slow for the first 4 hours to make sure I didn't get too soon to the Ras de Seine. So lolling about between 3 knots to 5 knots most of the time. It's dead direct behind where I want to go. So, being as I haven't quite got my downwind rig sorted yet, I'm not making the desired course. I'm basically jibing away from where I want to go to the west and away from where I want to go to the east, but in the general direction. The synopsis is, I think in 1 or 2 days it goes more westerly, so then I can be more on a beam broad reach and get hopefully to A Coruña, if not A Coruña, somewhere close. So what I'm running is the full main up. It's against this produce, which I hate, but that's just the best thing to do to get some downwind traction. And I've tried poling out, no, not poling out the Genoa, putting a block on the end of the boom and half unfurling the fat massive Genoa that I've got, and it's kind of working. The idea is that I drop the main and go on the Genoa. The problem is the block that I put on there is actually getting some chafe. I can't actually pull it out as far as I'd like to, so it's a bit of a compromise at the moment. I'm running with them both, but I'm doing it 4 knots at the moment. I'm thinking about 16, 17 knots of wind, which isn't fantastic, but it's good enough. Thursday morning. The good news is the waves have died down. Bad news is I'm kind of outside the bay. Well, not kind of, but I'm on the continental shelf, so way offshore, and there's no wind and there's nobody about. Completely alone. So I'm going to stick the engine on for a bit. Just bash my head on the hatch. A lot of blood coming out of my head. It's absolutely dripping. So I've got to try and do this with one hand. Get some gauze on it and a dressing. Luckily I didn't knock myself out. And of course it marks about the halfway of the crossing, so I'm as far away from everything and everybody as I could be. And then I'm losing I lost a lot of blood, well, very quickly. It was dripping everywhere. And now there's drying to it. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but this is called gauze, so I'm going to put some gauze on it and then try and get a bandage on my, wrapped around my head. Oh, look at that. Claret. How do I look? Phase 1. Well, there's nothing like on the spot reporting. Literally I did it 2 minutes ago, so no idea what I've done, but I'll stop the bleeding hopefully. So I put some gauze on it and a couple of plasters. It just gouged a big hole out of it, so probably stitches and all that stuff, but I can't do anything now. Just got to stop the bleeding, and I'll have a nice big scar on my head. Wonderful. I'll take some painkillers because I'll probably get a headache soon. Last night's dramas were, I've just realised this morning that I've lost another winch handle over the side. I probably left it up front when I was doing something. My head feels okay, it looks awful, lost a lot of blood. It's quite difficult trying to push myself up with one hand because the blood was just absolutely pouring out. But I don't feel too bad, it's bruised. I'll have to get it checked out when I get to port of some description. Don't really have any plans, I'm fighting with the wind. I'm going to have to change course because we're flogging all over the place. Let's go run away. So, bash my head on the companionway hatch. I normally either have it all open or closed, and then for some reason this is getting tired. I had it closed and I came out to have a play with the wind then and just walked straight into the lock and gashed my head. At first I didn't know it was a cut, it just felt really like a concussion. So I was like, rubbing it like this, and then I realised it had cut and it was a deep cut. I mean, I think it went through to the bone. So it's all bruised and sore, and I've got some stuff on it to stop the bleeding. I'll think about trying to get it redressed at some point, whether I do it or whether I'll wait to get into port. What else has happened? Not a lot really. I'm not sleeping because the batteries, the radar, the self-steering system, the AAS seems to be taking quite a lot of the battery, and then when I'm under engine, when I'm expecting it to be recharged, then it's not recharging much at all. Then, so I had the engine on for 6 hours maybe, and it's like going up very slowly. Then when I turn the engine off, magically it goes to 100%. So whether it's the controller or what, I don't know. So I don't quite trust the batteries. So what I'm trying to do is go dark, as I call it, turn them off when I'm awake and, you know, on watch, and then put them on when I need to sleep. But I'm not sleeping. I just can't sleep. I'm resting. And then lastly, the plan. I'm tootling down. I'm now almost going directly south, but not quite to Aberystwyth, which isn't a problem. The only reason to go to Aberystwyth was it's a city, that's where my buddies were travelling to. It's not the end of the world if I'm in the northeastern tip. Plenty of places there, and I always feel guilty about sailing places that I'd like to go and see. I am from coastline, about 18 miles away, but I'm not going direct, so maybe 120, which is a day and a bit for me at this pace, maybe 2 bloody days. But yeah, if I just head for the coast, I can get online, let everybody know how I'm doing, where I am, and talk through all the plans, because I don't really have one. I've enjoyed the sailing, I wish it would continue, but it's probably not wise to be out here in the Biscay in this time of year, not knowing what the wind is and just, you know, pot looking it. So I'll need to get into the coast and then make a choice whether I anchor, just get some sleep, and then think about where I go, or go to the dreaded marina. good 12 hours of sleep last night, which is basically 3 nights sleep for me. I normally have between 4 and 6. So feeling a bit better. Beautiful anchorage. The most calm and peaceful night I've ever had on a boat. Basically a bay within a bay, so it's just like a lake. So I slept like a baby last night. Thought I was in an apartment, so I've decided to stay another night, sleep like a baby, and then go to the medical centre in town, which is just over there on the beach, and get them to hopefully sort out the dressing on my head wound. Beautiful evening. Worth travelling 333 miles for.